What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Afro Guy Kokujin. Now, listen, this is my second time doing this video because I made it before, but it was too windy, so you couldn't even hear what I was saying. Very disappointing, but nonetheless, we're back again. So listen, this is probably one of the craziest situations that I know about happening here in Japan. As you can see by the title, it's already crazy. Let me just give a little bit of background, right? So here in Japan, right, in areas like Kabukicho and some of these like tourist spots, they have what they call scam bars or rip-off bars. These are essentially establishments that try to lure customers in, right? And they do it by like offering you something that seems too good to be true. For example, all you can drink for 2 hours, all you can eat for 2 hours for like 2,000 yen or 3,000 yen, right? This is the catch. This is how they get you to come in, right? So they have like a scout outside to lure you in with, you know, like I said before, right? But once they get you in, you know, they get you to buy drinks. They bring like a nice, cute girl to come and talk to you, and they get the time, you know, they get the time going. So you lose track of time and you're buying drinks, you're getting drinks for the girl. You guys are talking, you guys might be doing karaoke or whatever, right? And then what they do is after that 2 hours is up, they bring you a bill for an outrageous amount, which is gonna be like 20 times the amount that they told you before. So if they told you 2,000 yen or 3,000 yen, the bill's probably gonna be like 50,000 yen or 100,000 yen. You know, like this is a common practice in these rip-off or scam bars in Japan. So let me tell you, let's get into the story, all right? So my boy, he's actually kind of a famous person in America, right? So a lot of people know who he is. He comes to visit me in Tokyo, and he ends up going to Kabukicho. Kabukicho is an area that is famously known for having rip-off or scam bars, right? So he goes to Kabukicho, and you know, he's walking around Kabukicho. He's just like, you know, first time in Japan, he's amazed. A scout on the street comes up to him and tells him, hey man, come into this bar. It's, you know, all you can drink for 2 or 3 hours, and it's like 3,000 yen. So my boy's like, yeah, of course, man, let's go, you know? So he ends up going into the bar, right? As soon as he gets into the bar, cute girl comes up to him and is, you know, talking to him, you know, where are you from? What brings you here? Just flirting with him. You know, let's get some drinks. Let's talk. I think they ended up exchanging Instagram information at that point as well, right? So they have Instagram. He gives her his Instagram. She gives him his Instagram. She's telling him, yo, like, you know, like you're so handsome. Let's let's have dinner tomorrow night. I know some really good places in Tokyo I can take you. And so he's like, my friend's like, yeah, he's all for it. You know, he's all for it. So they ended up exchanging information. And another thing that had happened when he was in this rip-off bar or scam bar, like I said, he's a known person in America. So some people in the bar, some tourists, right, from Canada and America, I think, they ended up noticing him and noticing who he was, right? So they're like, oh, what are you doing in Tokyo? And, you know, they end up obviously coming over and hanging out with him and talking to him, getting pictures and whatnot. And so that's kind of what happens with that situation. So the girl that he's with, and she's a hostess in the club. She works there. She notices that, and she's like, oh, this guy's a big deal, right? He's a big deal. So she's noticing all that. And I forgot to mention, so when my friend comes into the bar, he gives the person in the bar, I guess the person that's taking tabs or taking the check or whatever, he gives them like 10,000 yen, which is essentially like $100. He gives them 10,000 yen because, as I said before, they said it's all you can drink for 2 or 3 hours for 3,000 yen. So he gives them 10,000 yen. At this point, you know, they're in there talking. They're, you know, talking with the guys, the tourist. He's talking with the girl. They're having drinks, whatever. And at some point, he realizes, hey, like I never got my change back, right? So he asked the girl, hey, where's my change? And she's like, oh, no, just wait. It's coming. Don't worry about it. Like, we'll get the change, right? So he's like, all right. He pays it on mine. End up having some more drinks. End up doing karaoke or whatever. And I guess maybe it's like 45 minutes to an hour goes by, and he's like, yo, I still didn't get my change. Like, so he's like asking the girl, where's the change at? She's like, oh, let me go check, right? So she goes and gets the manager or whatnot. Or my friend ended up getting the manager. He ends up getting the manager. It's like, yo, where's my change at? I gave you 10,000 yen. I never got my change back. And the guy's like, oh, just wait. We're going to get the change. He's like, no, you guys told me this 3 times. Just wait. We're going to get the change. Where's my change? So at this point, my friend is irritated. Hold on, train's coming by. So I don't know if you guys can hear me, but wait for the train to go by. You guys see the train? All right, so basically he's like, where's my change at? And the guy's telling him, oh, just relax, we're gonna get the change. He's like, no, you guys have told me that multiple times. I've been here for an hour, I haven't got my change. So at this point, my friend is becoming irate and he's becoming upset. So he's like, yo, give me my change. Like, we're not about to do this back and forth. Just give me my change right now. And so I guess at this point, the hostess guy is like, he's getting upset. And they're arguing. He's like, we're going to get you the change. He's like, you guys been saying that. Give me my change, right? So at this point, I guess I don't know if they were security guys. He said they look like they had like blonde hair and whatever, right? So 2 guys kind of like surround my friend from both sides, almost like they were trying to intimidate him, right? But remember, my guy is a big dude with a beard. He's like 6'2", he's big, like, so he's bigger than both of these guys, but they try to intimidate him, like, you know, like, if you do something, we're gonna do something to you. And my friend stood up and he's like, man, listen, he told me this was so funny. He said, you not gonna do nothing. And he pointed to the other guy and said, you definitely not gonna do nothing to me. He was like, I will tear this place up if we gotta go to that point, if we got to get to that point. So the tourist guys, right, that noticed my friend, they're telling him, yo, like, bro, chill, like, no, like, relax, you can't do this in Japan. And my man's like, shut up, man. Like, I'm not about to let these people steal my money and rip me off. Like, that's just not gonna happen. And that's how my guy is. He's a good guy, nice guy, but he's gonna stand on business. So if he feels like he's being taken advantage of, no matter where he's at, he's gonna stand up for himself, right? Which is unfortunate, but, you know, just because, you know, you're on vacation and you have to go through that. So anyways, they're arguing back and forth. These 2 guys are trying to intimidate him. So they're having like this standoff, right? It's just like a standoff. He's like looking at these guys like, listen, what do you guys want to do? I asked for my change. Give me my change. Like, and he's saying that now. He's irate. He's mad. He's upset. Everybody in the bar has stopped and is looking at the situation. The managers, everybody, right? So the manager's trying to calm him down while he has these 2 goons on the side of my guy. My guy's like, listen, y'all can't do nothing with me. Like, if we get to rumbling, if we get to fighting, like, I'm gonna manhandle all of y'all. Even though he didn't want to do that, he was just standing on business, man. And eventually what had happened, right, they end up giving my boy his change back. Like, after this long ensued argument, after the standoff, they end up giving him his change back. And so mind you, let's go back to this, right? The girl that was with my guy was there witnessing all of this, right? And she's in shock. She's like, oh my God, he's fighting with my boss, and she don't know what to do, right? But I remember I had said before, they had exchanged Instagram information, right? And she was trying to take him out, right? So my boy ends up getting his change back. He's mad. He leaves the bar. The girl, right? The girl ends up texting my guy. She texts him. I'm trying to see where we're gonna go. Okay. She ends up texting him, and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry about all that. But do you still want to go out to dinner tomorrow night? And my boy is like, yo, this is kind of weird. Like, you trying to go out to dinner tomorrow night after you just see me like fighting with your boss and, you know, getting into it with him? Like, he just felt like it was kind of weird, right? I'm trying to think, should I go this way? I'll go this way. So, no, it's windy. Okay, we'll go this way. So she sees that, he sees that, and he's like, yo, it's kind of weird. Like, she's still trying to hit me up after she obviously seen me just, you know, just punk her boss and just disrespect him in the club. But she's still asking me to go out, right? So All right, man. He's thinking it's a little bit strange, but he ends up taking her up on the offer, right? This was a big mistake. So what had happened is the girl ends up inviting him out, and she's like, okay, let's meet in this location. He doesn't know Tokyo, Japan, right? First time here. So he's like, okay, we'll meet here and we'll go to a restaurant, right? So she gives him a location, which is in kind of a remote area where there's not a lot of people, but he doesn't know that, right? So he ends up getting to the location a little bit early, and he's sitting there waiting for her. He's texting her, where you at? She's like, I'm on the way right now. I'm coming. Just hold tight, right? Hold tight. So as he's waiting, a car pulls up, right, slowly, and I guess he's like, okay, he's noticed, this is her. Tinted windows. 3 guys jump out of the car. They grab my guy up. They grab him up. They throw him in the back of the car. Remember, it's 3 guys at this time, and they're big guys, he's telling me. So they grab him, training him, throw him in the back of the car. At this point, they're in the car. They're assaulting my friend, right? They're hitting him. They're punching him. Doing the most, right? And at this point, he's like, yo, I know he wants to fight back, but he's just like, yo, I'm outnumbered. I'm going to just do what they say. Because at this point, he's a little bit intimidated and he's scared, right? I'm going to just do what they say. So they're hitting him, all that, right? They end up tying my friend's hands together. They tie his hands up in the back of the car. And what they did next to him was so just disturbing. And this is why I say you got to be careful, even in the safest country, because even in Japan, things can go left. They end up tying his hands together. They had obtained hot boiling water from the convenience store in Japan. So if you go to like 7-Eleven here or like Family Mart, you can buy you can get hot water from the convenience stores for like instant ramen and, soup, whatever. They had cups of hot water because they felt so disrespected of how he embarrassed them in the club in front of everybody. And just because, like I said, these are Yakuza members, they ended up tying his hands together. They lifted his shirt up and they poured the hot boiling water on his stomach while they were still assaulting him. Excruciating pain. I'm telling you, this water is so hot. Like, my friend literally had like 2nd-degree burns from this. Like, you could see, like, it was so hot, like it was eating through his skin. Terrible, man. Very terrible situation. And they ended up assaulting him. They're pouring the water on him. They're basically, everything's in Japanese, but they're just letting him know, like, you disrespected us, we're disrespecting you. Don't ever come to Japan and think that you can get away with that in our establishment. So they're pouring the water on him. They're punching him. They end up driving to another location where it's not a lot of people. They throw him out of the car. My friend is shaking up at this point. He's like, he's traumatized. He ends up going to the hospital to get looked at for his wounds. It ended up being a horrible situation, man. Very horrible situation. He ended up being good after that, but he was shaken up by the situation. And it just goes to show, in a different country, man, just be careful, man. Try to avoid certain situations. Do a little bit of research before you come to a country, and just be aware of your surroundings, because if you do research about Japan, you can obviously get information on what areas are a little bit shady in Japan and what places you should go and shouldn't go to. And yeah, man, like I said, my boy got, like, I think it was either 2nd-degree burns or 3rd-degree burns. Like, he showed me, and it was gruesome. It was gruesome. But he's alive. He's safe. He ended up going back to America, enjoying the rest of his time for what he could enjoy, right? And yeah, man, you got to be careful, man. There's situations that happen like that in Japan. It's unfortunate, but I'm just glad my boy ended up getting out of the situation safely. Now, he did go to the police. Were asking him, like, what happened, and he was too afraid to say where it happened at, in terms of in fear of retaliation from the group. So he didn't give up the information, just being scared, because you're dealing with the Japanese mafia. So crazy situation, man. But that's another story that I have here in Japan of a personal friend that went through that. So yeah, man, just be careful while you're here in Japan. And you know, it's a beautiful country, but even in the most beautiful places, man, crazy things can happen. So I wanted to add one more thing to the story that I didn't mention previously. So the girl that was in the club with my friend, the girl that was, you know, talking to him, that they exchanged the Instagram and all that, she's the one who ended up setting him up. So this is why I say you got to be careful of who you're dealing with, who you're talking to. Now, my friend should have went with his gut feeling. And I didn't even mention what had happened is after he got into it with the manager and the boss and all that, her boss, she ended up unfollowing him on Instagram, you know, but she was still watching his stories. And even after she unfollowed him when he left the club, she still asked him, hey, do you want to meet up the next day to go out for dinner? Which he found this really strange and like, why is she still asking me to go out after she unfollowed me? And she just seen me disrespect her boss. He was a little bit hesitant on this. Should have went with his initial gut feeling, but he ended up still meeting up with the girl. So I think that was the biggest mistake in this whole situation. But yeah, the girl that was in the hostess club is the one who set him up. So just be careful wherever you're at, man. Be careful, y'all. It can get crazy. It's your boy, your guy, Afro Guy Kokujin. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.